Hello, folks. I'm Alan for today's news. I will be bringing you world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. What I got for you first is from the House Digest. How a sprinkle of red pepper flakes can make your garden thrive.
Renowned for its signature heat and frequent use in culinary delights, red pepper holds a lesser-known yet significant role in the gardening world. Red pepper flakes carry the compound capsaicin, which gives red pepper its characteristic fiery kick and forms the basis of its usefulness in the garden, from repelling garden pests and insects to warding off diseases triggered by certain types of fungi. Red pepper flakes are also economical and readily available, providing an environmentally friendly and pesticide-free deterrent to pests. Pesticide use in gardens can have numerous unintended consequences, making natural substances, such as red pepper, an attractive alternative. Since pesticides do not differentiate between harmful insects and beneficial organisms when used, they may eliminate both targeted pests and beneficial ones. Pesticides can also have far-reaching negative consequences beyond gardens. Their toxic chemicals can pose health hazards to pets, children, and adults if not handled safely. Furthermore, they contaminate the groundwater supply, which can impact our drinking water supply quality. Pest, insect, and fungi deterrent. Red pepper, especially hot varieties like cayenne, has proven effective against various garden pests. The heat produced from red pepper deters small animals like squirrels and rabbits and damage-causing insects, including cabbage looper larvae, spider mites, and spiny bollworm larvae. These insects are repelled when they attempt to consume plant foliage treated with red pepper, creating an unpleasant flavor or sensation discouraging further feeding. However, red pepper is not universally effective against all pests, and its efficacy may vary depending on the specific pest in question. The capsaicin in red pepper can also create an environment inhospitable to various fungi, reducing the likelihood of fungal infections. This can be particularly beneficial for plants susceptible to diseases like powdery mildew. To create a natural pest and fungi repellent, mix red pepper, garlic, onion, cayenne powder, and water, adding just a bit of dish soap as necessary. Once the mixture is ready, spray it onto plants infested by pests or fungi. Apply the spray consistently after rain or watering occurs to ensure its spicy coating remains on the plant's surfaces.
Okay, and you can read the rest of that in my description box if you like. Economical and environmental safe, says. And let me go to my next one here. It's from Newsmax. Rep Biggs to Newsmax. More FBI docs coming on Biden.
The House Oversight Committee expects to receive more FD 1023 forms from the FBI this week that support what a Ukrainian oligarch said in his statement concerning an alleged bribery scheme involving President Joe Biden and his son Hunter, Representative Andy Biggs said on Newsmax Sunday. "We continue to accumulate evidence, so we're going to get more bank records this week," the Arizona Republican said on Newsmax's Sunday report. "We are supposed to be receiving more 10-23s, which are these reports from the FBI. And in addition to the suspicious activity reports that were filed with the Department of Treasury," Biggs said, "people are asking what's happening, at a time when we've gotten more done in about 4 to 5 months than the Department of Justice did in 4 to 5 years. We've put this together. I think the next step is to find the links there." The FD 1023 documents that are coming are not necessarily from the same informant involved in the first FBI document the Oversight Committee pushed to see concerning the Bidens, said Biggs. "These are other reports that the FBI has from other sources," said Biggs. "They've been reluctant to give those to us. They've been very difficult to deal with." Committee members were able to view the initial FBI document, and it was heavily redacted, which is unusual considering it was declassified, said Biggs, adding that the Ukrainian source has said that he has other documentation as well of him speaking with Biden and his son. Meanwhile, the House Homeland Security Committee last week announced plans to investigate Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, with the evidence to be used toward potential impeachment proceedings. "I introduced my first impeachment resolution probably a year and 3 months ago," said Biggs, noting that the priority is to make sure all Republicans are still on board with the move. "We have people in our caucus who are asking, what's the constitutional rationale and what's the legal predicate," he said. "We are putting those ducks in a row, so everybody feels comfortable going forward. The last thing we want is to not be able to complete the impeachment side of the process in the House of Representatives."
Yeah, so they're working to impeach Biden. And, I haven't heard anything much about Harris, Kamala Harris. But that put her as president. Oh, we are really screwed. We're screwed no matter which way we go. Let me go to the next one here. Just from Newsmax. Representative James Comer says, more to come on Biden influencing Peddling.
The hits will keep on coming on President Joe Biden's alleged influence peddling schemes, according to House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, Republican, Kentucky. Our job in the House Oversight Committee is to follow the money, and we have more bank records coming in, Comer told the Mark Levin Show on Rumble. We're going to start bringing in key figures in the Biden family influence peddling schemes for depositions, and I think we're on the right track, even though we're having to fight the FBI, fight the DOJ, fight the Democrats in Congress, and fight the mainstream media. Comer has long expressed frustration his committee's important work is being overshadowed, if not outright ignored. Even former President Donald Trump has alleged Saturday his fake indictment is a Biden Justice Department operation to cover up the allegations against the president. I think we've done as much as we could do with the obstacles we've had to overcome, Comer told Mark Levin. No one thought I would get bank records. No one thought we would get access to the Treasury, Cabinet suspicious activity reports, but we would not take no for an answer. We kept fighting and we prevailed. When we got access to the suspicious activity reports, the mainstream media said there was nothing there. The DOJ and the FBI are not being transparent with the American people, according to Comer, and that is shown by the inconsistency of their own excuses. You heard in the testimony when Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley grilled the deputy FBI director as to why they wouldn't release the Form 1023, they said, well, we don't want to endanger the life of our paid informant who's one of our most trusted, highest paid, most credible FBI informants, Comer told Levin. So, if this is the case, and the FBI informant's that credible and the FBI informant tells the FBI that the Vice President of the United States took a bribe from a foreign national in exchange for foreign policy and foreign aid, then why did the FBI not investigate it? But Comer said constitutional checks and balances is coming to bear fruit against Biden administration unequal protection under the law. They didn't want to investigate the shell companies, Comer concluded to Levin. They didn't want to investigate the money laundering. And then we know the Department of Justice hasn't done anything, so there's a pattern here where the federal government, the deep state bureaucracies, have turned a blind eye to Joe Biden.
Yeah. All these links, that's all I got in that one there. All the links will be in my description box, no matter if I finished them or not. Next one from Newsmax. DailyMail poll. 71% say Biden too old to be president. Yeah, he is too old. Too feeble.
A large majority of Americans, 71%, and even around half, 49%, of Democrats, agree President Joe Biden is too old to be commander-in-chief, according to the latest DailyMail.com/J.L. Partners poll. The poll appears to be prohibitive on Biden's re-election hopes, as 52% of all voters say they are worse off since Biden became president, and that was after the world was stuck in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent lockdowns and economic uncertainty. Yet, a majority of Americans are worse off than that now under Biden, the poll found. Alarmingly, a plurality of voters, 43%, say they are a lot worse off than they were in the middle of the pandemic. There are few things that unite American voters, but there is one, the belief that Biden is too old to be president, pollster James Johnson, co-founder of JL Partners, told the Daily Mail. Decisive margins across all age groups, ethnic groups, and political parties agree with the sentiment. And worryingly for the current president, those most likely to say they are worse off under Biden's policies include groups with disproportionate impact come an election, independent voters and 45 to 64-year-olds. Though he managed to avoid his age becoming a pivotal issue in 2020, it looks set to be the defining hesitation in voters' minds next year. Biden was already the oldest president ever elected, the oldest to take office, and the oldest president serving in the White House. Biden would be 86 at the end of a second term. Biden recognized his advanced age and Americans' fatigue in a bit of self-deprecating humor at a campaign event in Connecticut this week. "A lot of you are tired," Biden said. "You're tired. No, I get it. Try being 110 and doing it again." But it was that speech where Biden confused many by finishing, "God save the Queen." While Trump's age is also advanced, Americans might be choosing between an 81-year-old Biden and a 78-year-old Trump in the next general presidential election. Trump would not break Biden's age records, even if he served out his full term through 2028. Former South Carolina GOP Governor Nikki Haley, currently polling 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the primary race, with Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Tim Scott, Republican South Carolina, also in that pack of also-rans, said voting for Biden is actually voting for Vice President Kamala Harris to eventually become the first woman U.S. president. He announced that he's running again in 2024, and I think that we can all be very clear and say with a matter of fact that if you vote for Joe Biden, you really are counting on a President Harris, because the idea that he would make it until 86 years old is not something that I think is likely, Harris has said during her campaign. The DailyMail/J.L. Partners poll was conducted June 12 to 15 among 1,000 likely U.S. general election voters. The results have a margin of error of plus or minus 3.1 percentage points.
Yeah, any vote, if Biden gets back in as president, he's not going to make it full term, so Kamala Harris is going to take over, and then we'll really be screwed. She's worse than he is. So I know Biden's not going to make it. He got too much against him, and haven't been doing great either. Anyway, let's go to the next one. This from the Insider. There is so much gun violence in one Mississippi neighborhood that a military base piled up shipping containers to defend itself from stray bullets.
A Navy base in Mississippi erected a wall of shipping containers to protect itself from stray bullets. Stray bullets have struck multiple homes on the base and are coming from a nearby apartment complex. A spokesperson for the base said the barrier is meant as a temporary solution. A Mississippi military base in the small city of Gulfport put up a wall of shipping containers after stray bullets from a nearby gunfight struck homes on the base. The base first placed more than 20 shipping containers around its perimeter last year after gunfire broke out in the apartment complex across the street, striking multiple homes on the base, a local television station reported. Captain Jeff Powell told the outlet that the base took prudent measures to ensure the safest and most secure environment possible for residents inside the base. Since then, shootings have continued to plague Gulfport. On Thursday, 2 people were shot at a birthday party near the military base. While responding, police officers said they heard more gunshots and found a third person killed in a different location, according to local media. 2 other separate shootings also occurred in Gulfport on Thursday. Full screen. One of 13 photos. Martha Lockhart-Mays, a retired schoolteacher who lives near the military base, told NBC News that one of her former students was shot and killed last year. Lockhart-Mays said she thought the gunshots in the neighborhood had been less frequent before Thursday's shootings, and that she didn't approve of the shipping containers walling off the military base. "I feel that people should be able to live and work together without having a barrier," Lockhart-Mays said. John Whitfield, a local pastor and CEO of Climb CDC, a workforce development nonprofit, told NBC News that he thinks the optics of the barrier are very bad. But he said he understands the practicality of it. Becky Shaw, a spokesperson for the base, told NBC News that the barrier is meant as a temporary solution, but that the Navy is considering building a concrete wall across the street from the apartment complex. "The force protection of our base, personnel, and families is our highest priority," Shaw said.
Well, have the police do their job. Police is not doing their job at all. You think the military will get in and just clean the bad people out of there. Anyway, let me go to the next one here. I hate stupid people, I really do. This one from my ideal home. Do citronella candles actually repel mosquitoes? Science reveals the truth.
Every lazy summer evening in the garden requires 3 things: a pitcher of something icy cold, a plate filled with something delicious, and a stash of citronella candles to repel mosquitoes. There's no doubt in our minds that citronella candles will be somewhere near the top of your list of garden ideas every year running, whether you're the kind of person who spends ages tablescaping before a party, or who prefers to keep things as simple and pared back as possible. Why? Well, because everyone knows that these bright, fresh, and lemony candles are the best way to keep mozzies at bay, right? Right? Well, no. Wrong, as it turns out. Do citronella candles repel mosquitoes? While they are absolutely the sort of garden party ideas to set the mood for an outdoor event, it seems we've all been misled when it comes to the superior bug-repelling powers of citronella candles. According to the results of a study in the New England Journal of Medicine, essential oils are very volatile, which means they evaporate too quickly to repel mosquitoes effectively. In fact, they only provided protection for a mean duration of less than 20 minutes, less than half an hour. Still, there's no need to banish citronella candles from your list of easy garden ideas completely. After speaking with Lawrence Sweebel, the chair of biological science at Vanderbilt University, the New York Times has found that citronella candles provide as much protection from mosquitoes as any other candle-produced smoke, no more, no less. Essentially, this means that the biting beasties aren't fond of the scent or heat that comes hand in hand with smoke, so will try to avoid it as much as possible, although a campfire or garden torch is likely to do the job more effectively than a candle. So, what should we use to repel mosquitoes instead of citronella candles? If you are looking for simple ways to repel mosquitoes from your home, you're in luck. We previously spoke to Howard Carter, UK bite protection expert and advisor to the UK and Brazilian governments and founder of Incognito, to glean his top tips. His advice was simple: we need to cloak. C. Cover up arms and legs with suitable clothing. L. Light-colored clothing is advised. O. Odors, bodily or otherwise, like certain pheromones and perfumes, are strong attractants. So wash thoroughly, including exfoliating with a loofah, and do not use perfumes. A. Apply an effective insect repellent, such as Incognito, available at Amazon. K. Keep your garden tidy, and avoid stagnant water wherever possible. Somewhat surprisingly, it seems desk or pedestal fans are another good way to keep mosquitoes at bay, if your extension cable allows it, of course. How does it work? Well, mosquitoes are notoriously weak flyers, so all you need to do is pop a fan on. Experts suggest keeping it at knee level, sit back, and relax as the biting bugs are thwarted in their attempts to get at you. Your fan will also help disperse the carbon dioxide you exhale, which attracts mozzies, and keep you cool as you relax. Win-win. Still, it just wouldn't be summer without the distinct waft of citronella candles in the air. Maybe we'll just stud one or two around our garden table, for old time's sake.
Yeah, and about wearing clothing to cover your arms and stuff. If it gets hot out there, you don't want to be, overheating. Anyway, let me go to the next one here. This from Simply Recipes. I thought this was interesting. Quick baking frozen pizza. Here's a better way to cook it.
While I love to cook and tend to have a well-stocked kitchen, I always have a plan B. Inevitably I can't make it to the store the day I planned, leaving my husband and I without a single can of beans to fall back on. That's when I turn to frozen pizza. Convenience seekers from coast to coast already know the saving grace that is a frozen pizza. I'd put a good one head-to-head with a fast food chain pizza any day and it would win, hands down. But even the best frozen pizza can be improved upon with extra toppings, a little extra love, and the ultimate trick, the grill. The grill adds magic to frozen pizza. I cannot get enough of my precious grill in the summertime. It gives me an excuse to be outside in the warm weather and prevents me from having to turn on the oven. Plus, everything tastes better on the grill, including pizza. The grill adds a little oomph without detracting from the flavors of the pizza. Grilled pizza is crispier and a bit smoky. Plus, you can grill side dishes like grilled peppers, grilled corn salad, and grilled broccolini, or toppings at the same time, ideas below. The extra nice thing about grilling frozen pizza is there's no risk of it sticking to the grill and it's easy to transfer on and off the grates. I've made homemade pizza on the grill and, while it's definitely delish, it's tricky to transfer to and from the grill without losing a bunch of toppings. The sturdy, already cooked crust of a frozen pizza will slide right on and off, no problem. How to grill frozen pizza. Any frozen pizza can be cooked on the grill, but a thin or medium crust works best. No need to thaw, pop it out of the package and unwrap it while the grill preheats. The actual cook time will vary depending on your grill and the thickness of the crust, so keep your eye on it. Here's what you do. Preheat the grill to medium heat, about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Clean the grates. Carefully place the frozen pizza on the hot grill. Close the lid and grill for about 10 minutes, checking every few minutes. Use a metal spatula to carefully lift the pizza halfway through and make sure it isn't burning on the bottom. If needed, move it to a cooler or hotter part of the grill, or turn the heat down or up if you're using a gas grill. Once the cheese is melted and the crust is crisp but not burnt, use a spatula to help you shift it onto a cookie sheet or pizza peel. Slice and serve. Grill your toppings. Grilling pizza is great, but why stop there? For an extra special but still incredibly easy meal, grill a couple of toppings along with your pizza, then sprinkle them on top. Here are some ideas to get you started. Sliced onions, grill thick slices or quarters, then chop. Pepper rings. Cherry tomatoes, grill on skewers. Mushrooms, grill on skewers. Sausage, grill whole, then slice. Artichokes, grill, then chop.
And to make your grilled pizza extra drizzly with a good olive oil and maybe a little flaky sea salt for grilling. And that's all I got on that one there. Let me go to the next one here. The Ukrainska Pravda. Special Operation Forces enter Russian trenches from rear and kill a dozen occupiers.
Special Operations Forces soldiers have entered the Russians' trenches on the southern front from the rear and killed 10 invaders. Source: Special Operations Forces. Quote, in the south, while executing a mission, operators from the Special Purpose Marine Center were able to enter the enemy's rear. The battle group made up of Special Operations Forces soldiers caught the enemy by surprise. Having recovered from the surprise, some enemy soldiers tried to resist. But, as you can see from the video shot by one of our soldiers, it all was in vain.
And that's all I got on that one there. Let me go to the next one here. This from 1945. The Kamala Harris disaster has arrived. God, I was hoping she would never show back up.
Can Kamala Harris bounce back? The questions keep on coming and it comes to Vice President Kamala Harris. Biden has allegedly referred to his vice president as a work in progress. Many Democratic donors have questioned Harris's future because they do not believe she has effectively used her platform as vice president to advance issues that matter to liberal Democratic constituencies. Harris will lead advocacy for abortion rights now to mount a comeback, tout the administration's stances on climate change, and pledge to protect Medicare and Social Security. Will that help Kamala Harris in the long run? History seems to suggest maybe not. Sure, she is now officials Biden's running mate, but is she more of a liability than an asset? Kamala Harris, uneven performance. Harris has received low marks for her leadership in the administration on issues like immigration, voting rights in Republican states, and a handful of other difficult issues. Republicans have blamed her for the administration's ineptitude with drug cartels. Democrats remain worried about Harris's uneven performance in high-profile interviews. They worry that she receives different treatment as vice president due to her mixed Jamaican and Indian ancestry compared to even the president when he held the office. The vice president has a 39% approval rating among voters, according to 538. Some in Harris's camp told Boston.com they felt slighted by a comment by Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, who said she would defer to Biden on whether or not Harris should remain on the Democratic ticket months back before she was placed back on the ticket. I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable on his team, Warren said during an interview on GBH's Boston Public Radio. Those speaking for Warren stressed that the senator has nothing against the vice president and didn't want to get ahead of the president's announcement he would seek re-election. Right now, she seems to be an albatross, CNN quoted an unnamed Democratic Party chair as saying back in March. She's either going to be a liability or a help. And you better embrace her because it's not like she's going to be off the ticket. Harris's place on the ticket. Biden's age combined with her lack of strong leadership qualities has caused many Democrats to question her place on the ticket. Philadelphia Democratic Party boss and former Representative Bob Brady told the Wall Street Journal that people shouldn't expect too much from the vice president. You don't expect the vice president to be out there tooting her horn, Brady said. The president is the boss, and she compliments him perfectly.
And that's all I got on that one there. Let's go to the next one here. She's a laughing hyena is what she is, I was wondering about her because I haven't heard much about her on the news. Okay, the next one I got here is from Daily Express US. China warns US must pick cooperation or conflict in chilling threat over Taiwan.
China has warned the US it must choose between cooperation or conflict with Beijing as it sent a chilling message to the Biden administration over Taiwan. Chinese diplomats threatened to escalate tensions with the US over Taiwan as US Secretary of State Antony Blinken was set to meet with President Xi Jinping during a rare state visit Monday. In its statement, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs wrote, "The Secretary of State's trip to Beijing this time comes at a critical juncture in China-US relations. It is necessary to make a choice between dialogue and confrontation, cooperation or conflict." Chinese foreign policy official Wang Yi added that the US and China had to reverse the downward spiral of China-US relations, push for a return to a healthy and stable track, and work together to ensure peace. Read more: North Koreans dying of starvation in massive food crisis as leader Kim piles on the pounds. But he was more forceful on the issue of Taiwan. China and the US have repeatedly flexed their muscles over the island amid fears Beijing will try to reclaim the sovereign territory with an invasion by 2030.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. You can read the rest of that in my description box if you like. This one got my attention here. Let's see what it's about. This from Daily Express also. North Koreans dying of starvation in massive food crisis as leader Kim piles on the pounds. Sounds interesting.
The Hermit Kingdom has long struggled to produce enough food for its 26 million people, but the situation is currently so bad that residents are knocking on neighbors' doors begging for supplies. RTH Koreans are starving to death following stringent COVID restrictions while leader Kim Jong-un has gained weight thanks to luxury snacks and booze. The Hermit Kingdom was already the most isolated nation on Earth when COVID-19 first emerged as a global health threat. But it became even more shut off when it rolled out emergency measures aimed at staving off a public health catastrophe. Now, the move has appeared to trigger an unintended crisis even though Supreme Leader Kim has been stuffing himself. AI analysis by South Korea's National Intelligence Service, NIS, indicates the 5 feet 6 inches dictator now weighs around 308 pounds. His lifestyle is a far cry from that of his people after Pyongyang sealed off its borders with neighboring Russia and China, building new fences stretching hundreds of miles. It also shut off vital access to food imports, including grain, as well as agricultural materials like fertilizer and machinery to grow crops. Food shortages in the authoritarian nation are nothing new and the country has long struggled to produce enough for its 26 million people. But the combination of meager production and the slashing of imports means a devastating tragedy is unfolding, according to Liberty in North Korea, Link, an organization that assists North Korean escapees. Sources inside the closed-off country told the BBC they are terrified of starving to death and fear they could be executed for breaking the strict rules. North Korea was ravaged by famine in 1997, Image, AP. One construction worker living near the Chinese border, whose name was changed for his own safety, told the outlet that food supplies had become so low that 5 people in his village had already died from starvation. He said, "At first, I was afraid of dying from COVID, but then I began to worry about starving to death." A market trader from the country's north revealed nearly 3/4 of the products in her local market used to come from China. Now, it is completely empty. She added that she can't earn any income and added that her family has never seen food supplies become so scarce. The situation has gotten so bad that people from her area have been knocking on her door in a desperate search for food, she said. Another woman living in Pyongyang said that a family of 3 was found dead from starvation in their home. Trend. In December 2021, authorities claimed Kim was healthy and had been eating less for the sake of the country. But his weight appeared to rocket back up, despite a food crisis ravaging the isolated nation. Kim is understood to enjoy stuffing himself with fine foods like caviar and Swiss cheese. He also likes drinking whiskey and cognac and spent over $30 million annually on imports of luxury liqueurs from overseas, according to a UN report. Kwon Tae-jin, a senior economist at the private GSNJ Institute in South Korea, told Associated Press in March that Pyongyang is going backward and returning to the past. In the mid-1990s, North Korea suffered a crippling famine that killed hundreds of thousands of people, according to estimates. But Kwon added, "It's like very poor people are starving but the government won't let them die of hunger. Things could continue like that."
Okay, and that's all I got on that one there. That'll be in my description box too. So let me go to the next one here now. This from 1945. Putin's big lie might be a scheme to exit the Ukraine war.
You may recall that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin launched his second invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022 with two goals in mind: Ukraine's demilitarization and denazification. Both goals were absurd, as Ukraine posed absolutely no military threat to Russia and the number of bona fide Ukrainian Nazis could be counted on the fingers of one hand. Both goals were especially absurd as it was Putin's Russia that threatened Ukraine militarily and adopted all the earmarks of a fascist regime: authoritarianism, chauvinism, a bloodthirsty dictator, and a cult of personality. Whatever the case, Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov recently announced the good news: Ukraine has been demilitarized. Here are his exact words. Indeed, Ukraine was heavily militarized at the time of the beginning of the special military operation. And, as Putin said yesterday, one of the tasks was to demilitarize Ukraine. In fact, this task is largely completed. Ukraine is using less and less of its weapons. And more it uses the weapons systems that Western countries supply it with.
Okay, you're going to read the rest of that in my description box. My time is short here. I got two more to go here. This one here from T3. Never heard of him. I tried a simple camping hack that helps keep mosquitoes away. It works. I thought this was interesting.
Camping is one of the best things you can do this time of the year, but there is one thing that can ruin any trip: mosquitoes. You can pitch the best tent, buy the best lightweight sleeping bag and walk around in the best hiking boots. Nothing will protect you from these pesky insects. There is one thing that might, though: certain herbs wrapped in aluminium foil. Next time you buy herbs you usually use for seasoning over baked turkey, set a bunch of sage and rosemary aside for your next camping trip. All you have to do is to make a little campfire first, then wet the herbs a bit so they don't burn, warp them in aluminium foil, poke a few holes in the foil and chuck the bundle on the fire. Burning them not only smells great, but it drives insects nuts and wards them off, says HPC Fire Inspired. One trick I found useful is not to throw the parcel in the middle of the roaring fire. You want it to be close to the heat, but not too close, so that the herbs start smoking. If the fire is huge, throwing the foil bundle in the middle just incinerates the content. Leave the herby package in the fire but close to the edge for the best results.
Okay, that sounds interesting, worth trying. Let me go with my last one now. This from Home Knowledge. Life expectancy in the U.S. is declining. It began much earlier than we thought.
The issue of declining life expectancy in the country has garnered increased focus in recent times, particularly during the pandemic, where the biggest decline since World War II was observed. With the ongoing decline in life expectancy in the United States, a recent report reveals that Americans were at a disadvantage starting in the 1950s. Unfortunately, the situation has only worsened over time. Furthermore, a recent American Journal of Public Health study highlights over 50 countries with better life expectancy rates than the U.S., and a few states within the U.S. may bear partial responsibility for this trend. According to Dr. Stephen Wolfe, the author of the study in the Virginia Commonwealth University Center on Society and Health Director, the issue of declining life expectancy is more extensive and long-standing than previously believed. These findings provide a fresh outlook on life expectancy in the United States and offer valuable insights into the necessary steps to reverse this concerning trend, as noted by experts in the field. In the earlier half of the 20th century, the United States experienced significant advancements in public health, including improved sanitation and the widespread adoption of vaccines, which led to notable increases in life expectancy. The recent report illustrates the continuation of this upward trend in life expectancy until the 1950s when the United States held the 12th highest ranking globally. However, starting from 1955, the growth rate hit a decline, and in 1968, the United States dropped to the 29th position. Wolfe's research reveals that the decline in life expectancy started far before what was previously believed, challenging previous assumptions held by many researchers in the field. When questioned about the origins of this issue, Dr. Wolfe explained, "We previously pointed to the 1980s as the starting point because we had not thoroughly examined historical data prior to that period." He added, "The fact that a decline in life expectancy occurred during the 1950s raises intriguing questions about the factors influencing this shift during that time."
Okay, there's more to read if you want to read the rest of it, what is this down here? Anyway, there's a map here they got here. Let me click on it. Definitely zoom in on it. And anything in the blue is 86. The average age of death 86.8. Anything in the blue here. And the reddish looking part is 66.8 years. And I don't know why they got St. Louis in the blue. A lot of people dying over there from shootings. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I hope I got something for you that you can use. And don't forget to like, subscribe, at least come back once in a while. Remember, I am Alan for today's news. I'll be bringing you world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. Until next time, thanks for watching.